Hi there, beautiful creatures. Welcome back. Today is going to be my Big Magic Book Club week, whatever week it is. I think it's week 3 or 4. Week 3, I think it is, with the chapter Permission. And here I have the book in my hot little hands because I want to read some stuff from it for you. And I think this was, for me, the most poignant and the most sort of related to my situation chapter for me, because she talks about getting permission from other people to live your creative life, or feeling like we need that permission slip to say, yes, you are allowed to live creatively. You are allowed to pursue your creative dreams, basically. And there's a couple of things that I'd like to talk about that are a little bit, I guess, of a critique from me, and there are a couple of things that I really liked. So I'm going to start with the section of the book that I found to be, like, just hit home for me. And I really loved this story that she tells in this part of the chapter. So settle down while I read you this little snippet. So the title of it is Decorate Yourself. I have a neighbor who gets tattoos all the time. Her name is Eileen. She acquires new tattoos the way I might acquire a new pair of cheap earrings, just for the heck of it, just on a whim. She wakes up some mornings in a funk and announces, I think I'll go get a new tattoo today. If you ask Eileen what kind of tattoo she's planning on getting, she'll say, oh, I don't know. I'll figure it out when I get to the tattoo shop, or I'll just let the artist surprise me. Now, this woman is not a teenager with impulse control issues. She's a grown woman with adult children who runs a successful business. She's also very cool, uniquely gorgeous, and one of the most free spirits I've ever met. When I asked her once how she could allow her body to be marked up so casually with permanent ink, she said, oh, but you misunderstand. It's not permanent, it's just temporary. Confused, I asked, you mean all your tattoos are temporary? She smiled and said, no, Liz, my tattoos are permanent, it's just my body that's temporary. So is yours. We're only here on Earth for a short while, so I decided a long time ago that I wanted to decorate myself as playfully as I can while I still have time. I love this so much I can't even tell you. Because, like Eileen, I also want to live the most vividly decorated temporary life that I can. I don't just mean physically, I mean emotionally, spiritually, intellectually. I don't want to be afraid of bright colors or new sounds or big love or risky decisions or strange experiences or weird endeavors or sudden changes or even failure. Mind you, I'm not going to go out and cover myself with tattoos simply because that doesn't happen to be my jam. But I am going to spend as much time as I can creating delightful things out of my existence, because that's what brings me awake and that's what brings me alive. I do my decorating with printer ink, not with tattoo ink, but my urge to write comes from exactly the same place as Eileen's urge to turn her skin into a vivid canvas while she's still here. It comes from a place of, hey, why not? Because it's all just temporary. And that for me was absolutely amazing snippet and an amazing section in this book that I love. And I think anytime that I am feeling shitty and anytime that I am feeling why the hell am I doing all of this, it's, hey, why not? So, yeah, I just love that section so much. As a person who does get tattoos, but I do think about my tattoos, I just don't, I can't get them on a whim. One, because I don't have the money to get them on a whim, otherwise I might, who knows. And 2, because I have certain themes and ideas for different parts of my body to get tattooed. But I just love that. It's like, it's all temporary. We only have such, an amount of time on this earth. So we have to do the things that light us up, that make us creative, that make us want to feel and be alive, And I just think that is such a cool thing. That's really awesome. For Eileen, it was getting tattoos, for Elizabeth Gilbert, it's writing. For me, it's making art. And I want you guys to think about what it is that, gives you the motive, that gets you going. Now, I'm going to get stern with you here. I have a bit of a critique about this, and I'm not sure if it's because my current situation at the moment, where I'm actually a student of art, or or if it's maybe the ranty way that she goes on about this. But in her section Schooling, still in the same chapter, Permission, fair enough, she talks about how you don't necessarily need to go to a really expensive school to get an education in whatever creative field you want to do. So she didn't finish writing school, she didn't get a degree in writing, and she did all sorts of other jobs just to get her through, and throughout that she wrote, lots, because she was experiencing people's stories, and from that she could create characters, and I totally understand that. I understand people who don't get arts education and they're still artists in their own right. That's fine. What I'm not cool with okay, so first of all, I just want to say, actually, I want to clarify off the bat that I do understand that schooling anywhere in America, here in Australia, it's not as bad, but it's still pretty shocking, is incredibly expensive. I am fortunate enough to have parents who do pay for my education, which I know many people don't have, so that's maybe why my opinion is the way it is. And I do understand that in the US, your college fees are just ridiculously exorbitant, and I feel sorry for you guys, honestly. And I probably wouldn't have an education in fine art if that was the case, but it's not, and this is my opinion, and I guess we're all entitled to our own opinion. She goes on about how don't go to school, don't go apply for an expensive school, you don't need that degree, you don't need that education, just do what you want to do. And I can see how on the one hand that is meant to be a freedom thing, and how on the other hand that is also kind of, it doesn't sit well with me. It doesn't sit well with me because I, for one, know that if I hadn't gone to my college or my university, and if I hadn't studied the degree that I'd studied, I would have been a lot poorer in knowledge of art in general. I wouldn't really know how to place myself in the art world, and being somebody who aspires to be an artist in a certain context, you have to know how to do that. Sometimes, if you're really lucky and you're connected, you can just get out there and you just bam, and you'll click it. But that's like 1 in 10 million billion, okay guys? Unless you learn those skills and you build up those relationships, you have a very poor chance of kind of figuring it out, let's say. And I think that going to university is actually incredibly helpful for that. And a degree doesn't mean nothing. I don't know where this idea comes from that having a degree in any sort of fine arts means nothing. And that's what she kind of says. It's like having a degree in writing doesn't mean anything. Well, it actually does. It shows, for one, if only on the very basic level, that you have had the discipline to complete a 2 or 3 year degree in whatever, that you've actually sat there, gone to lessons, completed essays, presumably you've had to do teamwork and you've had to do group exercises and you've had to do a certain amount of work to achieve a certain outcome. And I think that means something, and I don't agree with the fact that it's a useless thing to try and do. And I think that was the biggest thing that grated me with that. It's just kind of like, yeah, I've done 4 years now of an arts degree, and I don't think it was all for nothing. And I don't think that I would be the same person I am now if I hadn't had done that 4 years, and I'm going on to do a 5th year. And it's just kind of, yeah, I don't know. She says, like, is it the teachers that you want? Is it the, blah, blah, blah that you want? And maybe it is the teachers that you want. Is that such a bad thing, to want to be educated by amazing teachers or lectured by amazing teachers? If it's a very ego thing, if it's a very selfish thing, and if it's like, oh, this is going to look great on my resume type crap, then those aren't really the right sort of motives, I guess, for going about it. But if you want to do it because you think, holy crap, that person is going to have a lot to teach me, and maybe, you're not ready to be a waitress and a blah, 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 and a blah, 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 and leave being a student behind, although, there are different, I guess, okay, we're all students regardless, but I mean being a student at university, like actually enrolled in a course type student, now I've lost my train of thought. if you're not ready to leave that behind and you want to be taught by certain people because you think you might have something to learn from them, and trust me, you will always have something to learn, then I don't see why you shouldn't. I do understand that financial burden is incredibly heavy, and don't put yourself into massive amounts of debt. And she goes into that too. And so if that's really not an option for you, then there are ways around it. There are really ways around it. You can teach yourself to do pretty much anything if you have the willpower and the drive to want to do it. So I'm not knocking that. I'm just saying that her really like scathing kind of review of going to an art school to learn art or going to a university to learn writing is totally unnecessary. I don't think that that's true. I think to a degree it's necessary if that's the type of person that you are and you're always, you want to be a student in an educational system, and that's just kind of like how you get the most out of life. Like, I know that I've made so many connections, not just with other artists and peers, but with gallerists, with my lecturers who are also artists in Australia, and they're quite well-known artists, and I just wouldn't have had that if I hadn't have gone to art school. And it's just kind of, yeah, I don't know. My view is like, if you can go to art school, go to art school, okay? Because it's freaking amazing, and you will never have a time in your life like you will have at art school. That's, I guess, my view of it. It's just like, yeah, if you can, do it. If you can't, that's fine. There are other ways. But yes, that really irritated me. But the rest of the permission chapter, I absolutely loved. So she actually goes on about schooling for ages and ages and ages. So that's why I had to say something about it, because I couldn't let it all go on for forever and not say something about it, particularly when I don't really, agree with it. And this first sentence as well, okay, I'll just read it to you, sorry. I'm not done bitching yet. Under Radiation Canaries, it's called. She said, "Do you think I'm wrong? Are you one of those people who believe that the arts are the most serious and important thing in the world?" And I was just like, what? What are you trying to say here? Are you trying to discredit yourself as a writer as well as everybody else who does something in the arts? Why? Anyway, she goes on to sort of say, okay, hey, we're actually involved in a super frivolous pursuit that is like, not useful to anyone except for ourselves, and is not whatever. She calls it the frosting on the world. Our creativity is a wild and unexpected bonus from the universe. Yeah. Luxuries of the imagination. I don't know, man. Being creative and having talent isn't that great of a fucking luxury, especially if you can't make money out of it and you're constantly fucking struggling. Sorry. But yeah, I can't agree with that. I don't think it's the most important thing in the world, by any means, no way. But it certainly has a role to play in the world. Is it frivolous? Yeah, hell fucking yeah it is. Look at the art world, for example, is a whole thing based on a giant economy of money, of people spending, huge amounts of money on art, which is like, actually has no function. But because it has no function, does that mean it doesn't play a role somewhere in the world? No. So yeah, that gripped me, because she said the arts. But by the arts, I don't know if she means writing as well, It's like, is it just people who make art and do art and kind of that stuff, or is it people who write as well? Yeah, there are a couple of things that jarred me in this chapter that I'm kind of like, is there a bit of a paradoxical thing going on? I don't know. Maybe I'm saying paradox because the next part is... Okay, she wrote about Tom Waits, and that was cool because I love Tom Waits. Yeah, here we go. The central paradox, she said. In conclusion, then, art is absolutely meaningless. It is, however, also deeply meaningful. And we can all handle it. And so that's how things are fine in the end, I guess. Is that she admits that it's a paradox, and she admits that, yeah, she admits that creativity and being a creative person and making any sort of art or creative thing is paradoxical in the way that it is both meaningful and meaningless. And I do agree with that to some extent. But with that chapter, how she introduced that idea, I guess, was just something that was like, eh. I can't really explain it better than that, so yeah. I'm still reading Persistence, because I did say that we would combine the 2 weeks, and I really like this one too. I'm so far really enjoying this book. I like that it sometimes pisses me off, and that it sometimes gives me something to rile against, and then it also calms me back down again with like the whole paradox thing. I like that it's from a perspective that I really deeply understand, being an artist and trying to make my way as an artist in this world. And yeah, I've really enjoyed reading this book so far. And I enjoy finishing it because you guys, okay, Larissa from Storytelling Tea and Tarot, and she is the Bard's Lament on Instagram, she posted the perfect book for the next book club. So when we finish Big Magic, which is going to be in a couple of weeks' time, we're going to start reading dun, 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 The Soul of the Octopus by Cy Montgomery. And if you didn't get that, or you're like, what? I just said The Soul of the Octopus. That's the title of the book, and it's by Cy, S-Y, Montgomery. And go to the Bard's Lament Instagram, and she has a title picture of it which has a giant octopus on it, so you can't go wrong. And that's the next book for the book club. And yeah, as soon as she posted that and I read what it was about, it's about octopi. Of course it's about octopi, but it's about one woman. See, I get so excited about octopi, I can't even talk. Okay. It's about one woman's sort of relationship with this octopus. That sounds weird, but okay. She's like a scientist, so it's a sort of scientific, I guess, slant on it. So she also researches octopuses, I don't know. She researches them because she's a scientist, and then she's like, you know, octopi are miraculous creatures and they're really intelligent. So she comes to know that they're intelligent, and she forms a relationship with one of these octopi and it dies. And that was an article that she wrote, and that inspired the book to come along. So the book is her going around the world researching different species of octopi, because there are many, many different species. Researching their intellect, how they work, because they're such a mystery to us. They're like aliens in the sea, basically. How they work, what they do, what they think, you know. And it's like an exploration, I guess, into consciousness. And you know how we kind of have decided from a very long time, and we know that cats and dogs and other domesticated animals have a personality, and they have a way of communicating with us. And it's, you know, it's like communicating with aliens, but you somehow manage to find a common ground. And she found something like that with the octopus. And naturally, I'm all over that shit like, you know, peanut butter and jelly, okay? Yeah. So that's our next book, and I hope you will join me and Larissa in reading that. And yeah, that's it, I guess. I will keep you guys posted on my thoughts of Big Magic as I continue to read it and perhaps finish it, and maybe something else is gonna leap out at me that I have to yell about for 10 minutes, but so far it's been really good. Now, I guess I should make a separate video for what I'm going to say next, but meh, I'm just going to lump it in here because why not? So I have found myself in one of those weird phases where I'm not able to read tarot or take magic or spiritual work very far at the moment. I have hit a proverbial crossroads, or a roadblock, if you will, where I totally don't feel connected to anything spiritual. Yes. I wouldn't say anything spiritual. I would say I have not been connected to Fae energies, as connected to, I don't know, to anything, except for crystals. As you can see, I'm all covered in crystals. I think I've shut down that part of myself for a bit. And it's weird. And I just wanted to put that out there because I wanted to know if, you know, I go through these phases occasionally, and I wanted to know if I wasn't the only one. You know, while reading Big Magic and thinking creatively, I've kind of shut down the spiritual side of myself. And it's a bit weird because it's gotten me so far. Like, it really has. And I don't know why I'm doing it, but it's been really hard to reconnect with. And yeah, maybe I want to ask you guys your advice on how I would reconnect again. Because I'm finding it really difficult to pay attention to and sit down and focus on tarot cards or oracle cards. I'm doing yoga, which is kind of my spiritual thing in the morning that I do. So I've got that at least. So I guess I'm not totally disconnected as I think I am, but I'm disconnected in a way of I'm used to doing a lot of journaling and a lot of tarot journaling and stuff like that, and yeah, I haven't been doing that. And it's kind of weird, but I'm kind of okay with it at the same time. And yeah, I guess I just wanted to ask for some advice and for some other opinions and stuff. But I won't ramble on about that too much in this video, but I might make another video about it, we'll see. But it's been like that for a couple of weeks now, so I don't know what's going on. Anyway, this has so far been me ranting about art school education and how everyone should go to art school in the chapter Permission in Big Magic. So go ahead and let me know your comments and your opinions. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Let me know. Just, yeah, let's discuss these thoughts and ideas. And what did you think of that little snippet from the chapter that I read to you about the tattooed lady? Yeah, I would love to hear your responses and your comments as always. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye guys!